I know you mentioned about certain roles being transferred into more of an online digital focus. Where do you see the future of recruitment for contact centre? Because I think, the days of, like say, onboarding going into like a, sort of a classroom environment, we're a long way off that to get back to that. And I think, onboarding, so many companies have really nailed it with getting new people into their business, quick turnaround times. We know as a recruitment business, it is all about delivery, but it's also ensuring you get the right people in those right roles to deliver that service. But what do you think are the biggest things that contact centres are going to be looking for now after the pandemic? Well, I don't know, still in it, but moving through the pandemic, what do you think those skill sets will be? What are the key things those organisations are looking for?
Well, I think you can actually train the skill required. What you can't train is obviously the person's inherent behaviours and values. And, there'll be nothing new in that for you, Holly. And that's exactly the same again, moving forward. The only piece that I will add to that is that how do we test resilience? That's the big piece, because, these guys won't, they may end up back in the office. I personally would think it'll be a hybrid. I think it'll most probably be some days in the office and some days at home. And if you look at recent research that has been undertaken, that's exactly what's coming out. Around about 91% of those that were asked the question said that they believe that a blended approach to their future working environment would be the way that they would prefer to go. And I get that, you don't want to have to travel into a busy city centre, day in, day out, when you can quite easily do your job from home. But it's rather nice to be able to go in and connect and have that camaraderie with your teammates, a couple of days a week. So, but then if it changes overnight, are people resilient enough to take that on the chin and say, well, right, okay, the next couple of weeks, I'm just working from home. Yeah. So I genuinely think that in terms of recruitment, you're going to be looking for somebody that shows signs of resilience, and how you test that, you'll be better at knowing how you do that. A person that demonstrates that they're willing to adapt and that has got that broad vision of the bigger picture, for me is key. And I guess the behaviours are key for me. And the reason I say behaviours is that the customer of the future, we require kindness. And there's been so much that's gone on. And I don't mean that I want somebody that's a pushover and can't differentiate, when they're being taken advantage of, but somebody that's got a beautiful tone of voice, that genuinely cares about that customer outcome, that shows the customer all their options. That's the type of person that I believe businesses will want moving forward, along with the skill set, around being able to move into different channels of communication, whether that be voice or, live web chat, to name but a few. But that's where businesses will be. They'll want those that are resilient and agile of mind.
Yeah, and it is all, here it's always about people for us at Juice, and it's very much always the case that I think sometimes from just talking to people, you understand whether they will be right in a customer facing role. And I think that is generally what it comes down to, is having that gut instinct, and also wanting to offer someone great service and going the extra mile for somebody. And, also just, I think, being passionate about, great service, isn't it? I think that's what it comes down to, and making sure
absolutely passionate about what they're doing, which is no mean feat when you've got challenging customers, but they're only challenging because it's almost a cry for help. So, seeing that as a great way of engaging is where we're at. it's not for everyone, you know, it's not for everyone. You know, we promote the industry as a career of choice. And I think that's where we're at, is that we've really got to strive forward to get the right people in the right job, because we're expecting them to work from home. You know, a lot, it's not for everybody to work from home for many reasons. And then, whereas in the past, they could perhaps go to their team leader or their fellow colleague and say, gosh, that was a tricky call. They're sat in their home taking that call. And that is a very different proposition. You know, what you do, get up and go and make your coffee in your own kitchen. It can be quite intrusive. So my point is that, you know, that resilience is a key one. We're working with a lot of businesses at the moment of how to explore that resilience piece, and also understanding what makes a great customer service advisor, what makes a great team leader in these times. And there'll be more to come on that moving forward as it becomes apparent of what's working particularly well.
100%. And would you, I mean, in regards to, like, we know with obviously a lot of things got put on hold, and recruitment being quite a big thing across the pandemic, you know, are you hearing from your members that there are recruitment plans then moving on? Are they all looking to the future to build their teams? And I think I was talking to a client just last week, actually, who interestingly mentioned to me that if anything, it's given them an opportunity, rather than having a limit on the numbers that they can have in their call centre, having the ability to have individuals working from home opens the doors to them to being able to grow their business without having to move offices or gain, you know, sort of a bigger footprint, as it were, which I think is also, again, something to look at positively that's come from the pandemic, is people seeing how they can, you know, change their business and grow.
Hugely. And the exciting part of that is that you'll know that, you know, if you were in a bricks and mortar environment that you'd set up for whatever reason, you wanted to be in a certain region or a certain place, it could bring with it its challenges around available resource. And you'll appreciate that as Fora, we would advise and work with, you know, attracting businesses into a particular region to set up a contact centre. The reality, and they would always ask, right, what is the skill set here? How many competitors have we got? What's the workforce like in this respect? What is the salary? All of that has now changed because every employer has got an open book of where they can go and get those staff. And we heard only last week of a member who has advisors that are based all around the UK, which helps in terms of really enhancing the skill set. A particular member needs a particularly advanced set of skills, which they really struggled pre-COVID to recruit for. Now, with the way that they're working, they've got the whole of the UK. And as a direct result, you know, they've got really, really good people in place. That before our most recent times would have been a bit of a headache. So, you know, we've got that advantage. The other piece that goes with it as well is that we've got specialist home working companies that are members of the forum. And there are certain people that genuinely only want to work from home or can only work from home. So that has brought an all-encompassing opportunity to engage with those people who wouldn't give you tuppence to go anywhere else than work from home.
That's right.
So, you know, it's for me, I do think that whilst our agent base is tired, you know, and they've given a lot to their respective employers. The good news on that is support is in the wings, because when they are recruiting, they're getting great skills in, or are able to attract great skills, which can give those agents that have given so much up until now the support that they need to get a little bit of respite.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You know, a lot of the the call centres that are operating throughout full-time hours across the pandemic. And I think where as a customer you're sat at home, you've got more time in your hands to inquire and kind of maybe complain about certain things that maybe you wouldn't have done it previously. Those agents at the end of the phone have been on the front line of that kind of customer, really. So I think the other thing that is a really big talking point right now is mental health and the well-being of employees. And I know that we've all focused on this a lot over the past few months, and companies are doing so much more now. And it's a challenge to manage a team or work as an individual on your own from home when you're used to working with 50, 60, 100 other people in a contact center environment. So, it is a sort of very much a flip reverse what people are normally used to in our industry. But maybe what would be interesting to understand is how do you structure your day? How do you ensure you have your positive well-being and keep your spirits up, I guess, through what's been a really challenging year for you?
Well, to be honest, I believe in starting the day positively. If you're what I call a Debbie Downer before you even start, it's not going to be the greatest day in the world, is it? So I'm blessed, I have to say, Holly, I'm blessed with a lot of energy and natural positivity. I have been all my life. But what I do right now is that because of Zoom and us almost feeling tied to our computers, our respective devices, I get up early and I will be out walking. I used to do a lot of running. Unfortunately, due to a skiing injury on my knee, I can't, which is frustrating. So I thought, well, right, what am I going to do? So I'll go out and work. I've got an objective of walking at least 130 miles a month. And that's what keeps me on track. I feel alive when I'm out there. I love it. It's my time to recalibrate and really sort of just shrug off the world, get out into nature, of which I love. I'm not bothered if I don't see anyone for the hour and a half that I take. I just adore that. That sets me up for the day, gets the endorphins going, and I'm on a roll. So that's my sort of personal trick: up early, out, back, ready to set off the day. The other piece that I do want to share, though, is that I'm dreadful for hydration. I will have 6 cups of coffee in a heartbeat, but will you see any water on my desk? No. And the reality of it is that we need to hydrate to keep us positive, to keep our energy levels up. So I've made a pledge that I try and bring water to the desk and make sure I drink as much of that throughout the day. The other piece is that I think plan your day.
Yeah.
Just be mindful of your time, because, I do have days, I sound so righteous, plan your day, where it'll all roll into one. And I think, oh my gosh, at the end of it, I'm shattered. I can hardly walk getting up from the desk because I've been so many hours sat there. But I think if upon reflection, I haven't planned it particularly well. I let it roll into,
it's easy for that to happen, isn't it?
And that's no different working from home than it is in the office. Yeah. But I think what we've got to really push is that we've got the choice to get it right.
Taking control, isn't it? It's making that decision that you're going to get up early every day and go for that walk to set yourself up for the day. It's making the decision to pledge yourself 130 miles a month. And I think that's the thing, it's just having those small goals to work towards, isn't it? And thinking, you say you're just ticking something off the box, off the list, and then at the end of the day you can look back and think, well, do you know what have I done today? You can look back and you can say, right, actually, do you know what, I have achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. Maybe not all of them, those might maybe have to be sort of pushed over to tomorrow, so I can kind of come back tomorrow on those. But I think it is about having just that mental focus for yourself and not just letting work consume you completely, because you're right, I think now we are working in a digital age more so than ever. it's so easy not to put down your phone, not to step away from your desk, you know, or that phone. And I think it's really, really important. And it's great to hear that you've got, yeah, some really fantastic advice there, I think, for people, and kind of just, yeah, setting yourself up to win, I think, is always a key thing.
And you know what another thing is, you know, often than not, smile. It absolutely makes you feel better. It makes your audience feel better, and it lifts the soul. And an act of kindness is one final thing. You know, if you can say, I've been kind today, the feeling is just so good.
Yeah.
And we could all do with a bit of kindness, couldn't we? You know, it's a toughie time. Let a little act of kindness costs nothing. You know, can I make you a cup of tea? Can I make you a coffee?
Yeah.
You know,
The little things.
Little act. That's the key.